gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Keepin' It PC Season 2, Episode 557. I gotta restart.
Just do it again. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I was banging his head on a ball.
Pat was banging balls.
Yo, look at the light shining off my forehead, bro. That's
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Keepin' It PC Season 2, Episode 11. My name is Lucas Drake. To the right on Discord, we got the best podcaster I know, Patrick Fergus. And to the left on Discord, we have the dude with the biggest forehead that I know, Cole Dickinson and LT.
wow,
Anyways,
that's a really underwhelming intro for LT.
Well, it's been a week. Some stuff has happened. Let's start off with something I don't know anything about. Pat, can you just start us off with the baseball season that's coming up?
Of course. Yeah. So we got opening day coming up on Thursday. I will be skipping a couple classes to watch my Red Sox in action against the Orioles at 2. Yeah. Baseball is my favorite sport. I'm very, very excited for the season. I think. We'll start with the Red Sox. We'll basically do what we're going to do here is talk about our teams. This isn't a baseball podcast. We're not going to break down every team or every division or whatever. We're going to talk about our teams. Red Sox for me and Cole, Mets for LT, and then we'll probably give MVP predictions for the NL and the AL, and then probably round it up with some World Series predictions. So we'll start with the Red Sox because last season was not fun. Not really what you want. They were pretty mid team. A lot of blown chances. They would go on a run, then drop a couple more games. It was just kind of that back and forth. Obviously, this is a very different team than it was last year. No Xander Bogaerts. They bring in Yoshida. They bring in Justin Turner. Kike, basically still here. He's probably playing a different position. Cassis is going to be the full-time first baseman now. Very excited for that. I think, Cole, I don't know how you feel, but I think the team is young. It's exciting. I'm very, very excited for Yoshida. I think he's going to be a fucking stud. Same thing with Cassis. The rotation gives me a little bit of worry because I just don't think it's that good. But they made some improvements to the bullpen, Chris Martin. So I don't know how to feel about this season, really. I think I'm not going into any expectations whatsoever, but what about you?
I mean, right now, if just on paper, the Red Sox are the 5th best team in their division, which is never a good way to be going into the season. Story's going to miss a significant amount of time with that elbow injury. Really, I'm only excited about Yoshida, Casas, and Devers. I mean, that's really all there is for me to get excited about with this team. Really, what I'm looking for this year with the Red Sox, I don't necessarily... Obviously, I want them to do as well as possible. But what I really want is to see Casas establish himself as a major leaguer. Have a good year. I want Devers to have a better year than he had last year. We just signed him to that 10-year contract. I think he needs to have a good first year of that contract. Needs to be better than he was last year. And for Yoshida, I mean, yeah, needs to have a good year. Bringing him over from Japan, got high hopes for him. He's going to be a big part of what we're doing in the future, obviously. So, you're looking at those 3 guys to really have good years, improve on what they were last year. Yoshida, obviously a rookie this year, but looking for him to have a good year. I don't really have high expectations in terms of, making a World Series run or deep playoff run. Maybe they sneak in as a wild card team. As much as I can say we're the 5th best team in our division, I do think it's a strong division. So, we're the 5th best team in our division, but are we like the 15th best team in the AL? No, we're probably like middle of the pack of the AL, right? So I think there's a chance they could be a wild card team. But other than that, I mean, the only chance of that really happening, Sale has to return to his old form. Kluber has to pitch well. Pavetta has to pitch well. Kenley Jansen's got to be back to being a shutdown closer, right? The bullpen's got to stay well or pitch well. And they need to stay healthy. I mean, that's going to be a big key with this team because I don't see a lot of depth. I don't see a lot of guys, minors that I really trust to fill in. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I look at the Red Sox this year.
I mean,
It's like a rebuilding, a retooling year, you know. No,
Yeah.
not real high expectations.
if I was a Red Sox fan, I would definitely just be going in to this season with no expectations. Yoshida, I think, right? That was his last
Yes.
name.
Yeah.
Obviously had a great WBC. Obviously hoping for him to have a great year, great career with the Red Sox. But other than that, I feel like you just got to go with the flow. If you're a Red Sox fan, if they do good, obviously be happy. If they do bad, it's not like we're projected to be much better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't think the offense will be bad this season. I really don't. I think they brought in some solid guys. I mean, you let JD go, which I think that was the right choice. You bring in a guy like Justin Turner, who's not going to blow you out of the water with numbers or anything, but he's a very, very solid major player. He's been that way for a very long amount of time. You know, he's very solid career. Bringing in guys like Duvall and those kind of guys, I think that lineup will be solid. And I turn to the pitching, and I see Corey Kluber starting an opening day. I don't know what you're going to get out of Corey Kluber. This starting rotation will be unbelievable in like 2016 with a 1-2 punch of like Kluber and Chris Sale. Like that would be fucking wild. Obviously,
unbelievable.
Obviously, I can't live in the fucking past. Pavetta, he had I think he had close to 5 ERA last season. He was outstanding during those middle months of like May and June. He like pretty much carried the entire staff. Brandon Bayo, I think is how you say his name. Bayo,
yeah, yep.
Is like one of the kind of hyped up prospects for pitching. I'm excited to see what he does. He had flashes last season. He finished pretty much on a high note. I think he had around a 3 ERA himself, but he didn't pitch that many innings. And then like Chris Sale, I don't know what he's going to get out of Chris Sale. He was touching 95 in spring training, but it's just you just don't know. It's mystery. Same thing with James Paxton. Evaldi's gone. I mean, if Sale, Paxton, Kluber can stay healthy and they just eat innings, they do a solid job, they keep you in the game. I can see them. I can reasonably see them fighting for a wild card spot, like Cole said. And he's right. This is a very tough division. This is a very, very tough division. The Orioles were dog shit forever. Now they have a decent squad. The Rays are always pesky. The Blue Jays dripping with talent, trying to put it all together. The Yankees are always the Yankees. They're always going to win, a good amount of games and, going for the division title. So, yeah, I don't think it's a great division to be in this stage of this team. But the Red Sox surprised me. They do. I mean, who would have saw them going to the ALCS a couple games away from the World Series a couple years ago? Right. Like that team wasn't anything super special, but that's the great thing about baseball. You saw it with the Phillies last year. It just comes together at the right moment. You can go on a run.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen with this team. I don't think they're built like that. I think this is very much a transition year. Losing Bogarts, kind of Chaim Bloom, kind of just doing what he wants to do now. He's kind of in the long stretch. These are the decisions that are going to impact the future. And I love the Devers contract. I really did. I thought he did a great job with that. Locked him up. If he didn't lock him up this offseason, I was going to be irate. But yeah, we're going to move on to a team that has very high expectations. That's the New York Mets. And you don't say that a lot. But this team spent fucking capital. Old Steve Cohen is not fucking penny pinching. He is busting out all the stocks. He wants to see the Mets win a championship for the first time since '86. LT, as the resident Mets fan of the podcast, please give me, as unbiased as you can, your honest prediction of what you think will happen. Like, if everything goes right, say there are no major injuries or anything, obviously you lost Diaz, but if this team stays healthy, if everyone performs sort of around what they're supposed to, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, after last year, such a disappointing ending. They had 101 wins. Get eliminated in the wild card in 3 games to the San Diego Padres, who, in their defense, they did make a good run in that playoff season. But they need to come back. I'm not going to 100 wins or anything, but as long as they get in the playoffs, make a run for the World Series. I'm not going to say that they're going to make it or anything, especially with the loss of Edwin Diaz. I think that's going to really impact their wins because we do have Ottavino, but I'm not sure if he can make such an impact as Edwin Diaz would in the closer spot. But still, we have solid pitching despite losing Jacob deGrom getting Verlander. We got Kodai Sengi from Japan, who's a really good addition. I'm excited to see his ghost forkball, what everyone talked about so highly in the offseason. The offense, we didn't improve much. We basically kept everyone for the most part. We nearly got Carlos Correa, but some shenanigans happened and we couldn't get him. But in retrospect, maybe it could be a win for the Mets, but I'm not sure with his injuries. But it is sad that we couldn't get him, obviously. But like I said, I'm not expecting a World Series this season, but they need to go to the playoffs and not get eliminated in the first round. They're a much better team than that and need to fight for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think the Mets are as screwed as people think with the Edwin Diaz injury. I think their bullpen's still just fine. I think they have some guys back there that are really good established players like David Robinson, Adam Ottavino, Brooks Raley, and very good for the Mets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're screwed by any means. And obviously, you add a guy like Verlander. I think that makes up for the loss of Edwin Diaz. I think they're a top 5 team in baseball, honestly. I think they have a chance to win the division. The Braves are definitely in that conversation, as are the Phillies, although
very tough division.
It is a really tough division. It's going to be a battle between the Phillies, Mets, and Braves. Although I do think the Phillies are definitely the 3rd team as of now, with Harper going to miss the start of the year, with Rhys Hoskins out the year. I do think really it's going to end up being a 2-horse race between the Mets and the Braves. But I think the Mets have a very, very good shot of winning that division, being one of the best teams in the league. I think on paper right now, to me, they're a top 5 team. So I would have high hopes if I'm the Mets fan, even with Edwin Diaz out. I think it's a really, really good team.
Yeah, I think the Mets going into the season, their goal, they have to win the division. You saw what happened last year. Even though the Braves eventually fell to the Phillies, like in the divisional series, but they still had that time off. Even though it's not a 1 games playoff anymore, it's a series now. It's just, why would you want to play an extra series in the playoffs when you don't have to? When you could just win the division. That's something they didn't do last season. They choked it at the end. Classic Mets style. They won. What did they win? 101, 102 games, right?
101 wins just to lose.
101 wins to lose the division.
Man.
That is fucking terrible. That's classic Mets. That is such classic
Mets. Such a Mets moment.
But yeah, I think I really don't think that the bullpen will be as like decimated as some of these people are saying. Like, they still have they have Adam Ottavino, David Peterson, Tyler McGill, got Quintana, obviously Senga. I think might start off a little rough. I know they're using it's a bigger ball here in the MLB, I'm pretty sure. So obviously that's a big adjustment, using a bigger ball to pitch. That's gonna take some time to getting used to. But I mean, didn't you guys call up Francisco Alvarez, one of your top prospects last season? Is he on the team for the start of spring training?
I'm not sure, but he's definitely better than James McCann, because he was god awful last year. I would definitely rather Alvarez being our catcher. I'm not sure.
They demoted Alvarez to AAA, so it's going to be Nito and Narvaez to open up the season for the Mets.
They released McCann, or is he just gone?
McCann's gone. They have Thomas Nito is going to be back. He's probably going to be their backup, and then I believe Omar Narvaez. Narvaez.
You signed him, correct? Free agent?
Yeah, he's probably going to be their usual catcher. He'll probably catch the big dogs, Scherzer.
Yeah, I would say there is pressure on the Mets, though. When you have a $364 million, when you have a $364 million payroll, you just signed Verlander this annual value that's insane for like a 40-year-old pitcher. You still have Scherzer. I mean, I think you looked at Alonso, McNeil, you just re-signed Nimmo. You look at these guys to have a season up to their snuff and stay healthy and be consistent. Lindor, obviously. I think this is a very, very talented team. I really do. And I think I'm not going to say that I think they could be in contention for a World Series. I really do. I think if everything falls right for the Mets, this roster on paper, despite the loss of star closer, I still think bullpen's all right. Offense is really good. They have a very solid pitching staff. I think they should be contender. Cole said it. They're a top 5 team in the league to me. So,
and it's not only their payroll, right? Like they have expectations because you won 101 games last year. Like that's a legit. You won the tied for second most games in the league, right? So you got to perform again, and I think it's going to be a very similar story to what it was for the NL East last year, where the Phillies are in that wild card spot in third, and then the Mets and Braves are just dogging it out for who's going to be the top dog in that division. And if I'm the Mets, you got to win that division this year. You got to win the division this year.
Absolutely.
It's their big moment. I think, with Scherzer being 38 years old, Verlander being 40, right? You want to capitalize while you have these guys. Like you have a window to win. These guys are still pitching at an elite level. This is a big year for the Mets, and I think they have a real shot this year to win the World Series. I do want to hit on Francisco Lindor. I think it's going to be crucial for him to get back to the production that we saw in Cleveland. And I understand a lot of the underlying numbers have suggested that he's been better in New York than what his production has shown. I understand all that. Then last year was his best year in New York, hands down. I think that would be just fine again. But I think if the Mets want to take themselves to another level, Francisco Lindor needs to be that top dog at shortstop in the league that I know he can be, that he's shown before, right? I mean, yes, last year was good. 270, 26 home runs, 788 OPS, 125 OPS plus, great defense at shortstop. That's a great year. It's a great year. But, I mean, look at 2018, Lindor. 42 doubles, 38 home runs, 871 OPS, 132 OPS plus. A finalist for the Gold Glove. If he can have that type of year for the Mets, that is going to be huge for that offense, and I think that will just make them the clear top dog in the division.
Yeah, definitely. I believe Francisco Lindor last season, he had the most RBIs in his career for a season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that's a great start for last season, and obviously to work off of that is huge.
Yep.
Definitely on defense, if he can come back to that Gold Glove type of player, it would absolutely be crucial for the Mets.
Yeah.
And yeah, if everyone could stay healthy, I think this team can get a lot done.
All right, let's have a little fun. Let's talk about MVP predictions. We'll go from. Well, I'll go first, and then we'll go, I guess, to one of you guys after. But we'll just say who you think's gonna win NL MVP and AL MVP, and then a brief explanation why, of course. For NL MVP, I think this should be a very interesting race. The likelihood that Paul Goldschmidt has the kind of season he had last year, especially given his age, 35 is history suggests that's not gonna happen. The last back-to-back MVP I think was Miguel Cabrera in like 2013. I think this is between Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr. Juan Soto went to the Padres last season, didn't quite meet expectations. I think he still had a very solid season. 27 home runs, an over 400 on base percentage, and he is right in the heart of one of the best lineups in the league. He's got a lot of protection around him. I think he's an easy bet for a 30-plus homer guy. The guy is just dripping with talent. I think somebody like that on like a pretty certified guaranteed playoff team has a very good chance of winning an MVP. And then when you look at Acuna, he's battled some issues with the torn ACL. The lack of power wasn't there last season. But I think a full off season of him getting healthy, ready for the season, make adjustments to the kind of player he was, where he could deliver, a 30-30 season or even better than that. I think he's bar none, one of the most talented players in the league. The Braves are a great team. And if he returns to that peak we saw in those first couple years, that we didn't see last year because of the ACL injury, I think he deserves an MVP if he can get up to that kind of standard. And then when you go over the AL, there's obvious choices: Otani, Trout, Judge, whatever. I'm gonna go with Jordan Alvarez. I think he had a hand injury last season that impacted him immensely in the second half. He still slashed 306, 405, 653 with 26 homers. I think he was neck and neck with Judge at about the halfway mark this season. That hand injury really handicapped him. If he can stay healthy for an entire season, this guy is an absolute fucking monster. I really don't think, and they'll hold the designated hitter thing against him. They will for an MVP. But I think the kind of offensive production this guy is capable of, if he can just have everything go right for him, no injuries, stay on top of the game, make adjustments and everything, I think he has a very, very solid chance to have one of the historic offensive seasons in the last 20 years. I really do. So those are my picks. How you guys? I'll take.
I'll give you two dark horses because I think you pretty much gave favorites for this season. Pretty good, right? I would say both of them. That's pretty reasonable to say they can win MVP. Probably most likely. But I'll say for the National League, a dark horse of mine would probably be someone like Mookie Betts to win the MVP.
Of course,
absolutely.
Pretty much goes without saying. He's just all around, great player. The numbers back it up. I think he can really produce for the Dodgers this year. Goes without saying for the most part. And I'll give you for the American League a young guy like maybe Julio Rodriguez. That might be a little crazy, but I can see him just absolutely going crazy this year after a big paycheck and just absolutely breaking this season.
Yeah, Cole, before you go, I don't think J-Rod's a crazy pick at all. I think he's same thing with Acuna. He's got 30-30 potential. And he was a budding star last season. This is his season to kind of establish himself. So I think that's a good pick. Cole, what do you think?
All right, so I'm gonna give predictions, and I'm gonna give a couple of dark horses. So my prediction for the AL, this is an obvious choice, but I'm gonna go Shohei Ohtani, and he's 28 years old. This is going to be the best version of Shohei Ohtani we see, pitching and hitting. I think this is going to be his year where he just completely dominates the sport. I mean, we've already seen it in the WBC. He was on fire on the mound at the plate, right? I think that's going to carry right on into the season. I don't really have a dark horse in the AL. I do want to give a little love to Jose Ramirez. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the league. I love his game. Switch hitter. He's been great for years. Always been one of the more underrated players to me. I think he's an absolute monster. In the NL, this is where things get. There's so many different options. There are two guys I want to throw out as dark horses. One's a little bit less of a dark horse. The first guy is going to be Fernando Tatis Jr. I think with the added protection in that lineup, if he can put together a healthy season, listen, this kid, he's special. I don't give a damn what anyone wants to say about steroids. He is a special player. One of the most talented players in the league, right along the lines of a Ronald Acuna Jr. type player, in my opinion. I think he's going to flourish this year with Soto in the lineup, with Machado, with Bogarts now. I mean, that lineup is just, he has so much protection. I think he could have a huge year. I think he's a guy that could hit 50 home runs. So that's why I think he could be an MVP, right? Another dark horse, I'm going to say. Michael Harris Jr. of the Braves. This guy was really, really good last year for the Braves, quietly. He was a 5-win player as a rookie, hit 300, 19 home runs, 20 stolen bases. I think he's a potential 30-30 guy this year, and he's a great defender in center field. I think he could potentially be a guy that ends up leading the National League in WAR, and that's going to put him right into the conversation for MVP. With the Braves, being going to be in contention, with him probably going to have great numbers that are improved from last year. Probably going to be, I think he's going to be a 30-30 guy this year and could have an 8-win season. So those are two guys that I would throw out there. My pick is going to be Juan Soto. I absolutely love Juan Soto. I can't say enough about how, I mean, he's going to lead the league in walks like he does every year. He's going to have an on-base percentage at like 420, 430. I think he's going to have a higher average this year, with all that protection in the lineup. He's going to be a beast this year. I'm in on the Padres. and hope he has a great year. One of my favorite players in the league.
We'll wrap the MLB segment. Quick fire World Series predictions. Who do you think's going to play in the Fall Classic, and who do you think's going to win it? We'll go to LT first.
I mean, what I would love to see would be a Mets Yankees World Series. I mean, come on. But that's just the fan in me. Realistically, both the National League and the American League, it's so hard for the postseason because literally anything can happen.
Yeah.
I'd like to say the Mets will make it in the National League. Call me biased, whatever. Give me the Mets. American League. Oh, man. This is tough. I'm not even trying to get I don't mean the silence here, but I'm really trying to think of
Oh, it is tough.
contemplating.
It is tough. It is really tough.
I can't even give you a team, really. I mean, literally anyone. Give me
Yeah.
I don't want to say the Yankees because that's an easy question. Give me I don't know, Blue Jays.
Okay. So
If everything goes right, for the Blue Jays, they could be the best team in the league, in my opinion. I mean,
Literally, I feel like it's a pick and a hat for the American League. So, give me the Blue Jays.
All right, Cole.
The American League is a little easier for me than it was for LT. I'm going to continue to not believe in the Yankees as I do every year. It's the Red Sox fan in me. It's also me understanding that they run the same team out every fucking year and they expect something different to happen and it doesn't happen. And they're like, oh my God, we're going to win 105 games and we're going to win. No, you're not. No, you're like last year. I said last year when they were on pace to win most games ever, they're not even going to win 100. They win 98. It's like clockwork with the Yankees. They're frauds every year. They run the same team out every year and I'm sick of it. So for me, it's the Astros. It's going to continue to be the Astros. They're such a well-run organization. Say what you want about their past of cheating or whatever. I'm not convinced that they were the only team doing it. Maybe they did it the most egregiously, but, say what you want about them. I think they're a hell of a run organization, and they have a great team. The National League gets a little more difficult for me. But ultimately, I come to the Braves. They won it in 2021. They surprisingly lost in last year. I thought they were easily going to win that series. I just really am in on the Braves. Like I said, I think Michael Harris is going to be one of the breakout players. They have a great rotation. They have a great bullpen. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be back and playing like an MVP at 25 years old, right? So it's hard not to love the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm pretty set on the American League. I think it's the Astros. I don't think the loss of Verlander is going to impact them as much as people think it might. I still think that rotation with Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Christian Javier, Lance McCullers, that's a very, very, very solid lineup. They had my MVP pick, Framber Valdez. Jeremy Pena has obviously ALCS MVP, World Series MVP last year. He's, one of those guys that's a star. And my God, look at the guy's fucking biceps during spring training. Dude's massive. They added Kyle Tucker, I think is one of the most underrated players in the league. I think he's a fantastic hitter. They added Jose Abreu, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve. The team is stacked. They know how to play with each other. They have a good manager. There is no reason to me why any other team in the AL can beat the Astros in a 7-game series. Not the Blue Jays, not the Yankees, not any other team from the West. The Mariners, I don't think, pose as much of a. I think the Mariners are getting a lot of hype, and I don't understand entirely a lot of it. I think the Astros are still the best team in the West. I think they're still the best team in the American League. The Yankees, show me something. It's the same fucking team. As Cole said, same fucking team every year. Show me something. Win something. Do something with this core. And then I'll be like, okay, then I'll pick you to do something. But it's the Astros for me. National League, I'm going to go with the Padres because I think that lineup is pretty deadly. I mean, Darvish, Bogart, Soto, Jake Cronenworth, for God's sake. I mean, I think it's a very, 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 very deep lineup. Darvish is, I think, is still a decent pitcher. Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell. I think their rotation, they I think, performed pretty good in the playoffs last year. overall.
I think they
but
have I think they have a high upside rotation because Blake Snell and
Yeah,
Yu Darvish, I think, are both legitimate aces when they're at their best. So I think maybe when you're looking at it right now, it's like maybe you don't have the most faith in them, but once they get into the season and you see how they're pitching, they could be a team where, okay, this is one of the best rotations of baseball.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the rotation is the key piece for this. I think the lineup will be very solid. I think the lineup will be deadly the entire year. So yeah, I think I'm riding that wave. It's fun to see a small market team like this spend a lot of fucking money to get players and create a lot of hype around their fan base. I think they're one of the smallest markets in the league. Literally, they make the least amount of money, but this owner is very committed, obviously, to getting this team a championship. So, and
my
then in
God,
the series, I'm gonna pick
is San Diego a beautiful city, man?
Yeah.
Some of the pictures of buildings overlooking that ballpark, it's just like unreal, man, unreal. Anyway,
throw a bone. They get to the series. Unfortunately, they follow the Astros, who win back-to-back championships. So
I'm
that is my prediction.
I'm also going to pick the Astros. I forgot to say that.
I would pick the Astros, but I just don't want them to go back to back. So I'll pick a wild card. I'm standing with the Blue Jays. I don't care.
Yeah, I actually agree.
So I think
the Blue Jays, if everything does go right for them, they have a high ceiling.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it's a little similar with the Padres. It's like they have when you're looking at them now, maybe right now you can't say they're one of the best teams in the league, but once you get into the season, you see how they start playing, and if everything's clicking for them, they could be scary and give the Astros a run for their money.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays for me are like they're like I'm trying to think of an analogy here. Whatever. I mean, I can't think of anything, but like they have so much talent. You see so much talent in that roster. It's about putting it together as a cohesive unit. Until I see that, which I haven't seen yet.
Right.
I mean, they have as Cole said, they have a huge ceiling. I think they have a ginormous ceiling. If they could, I mean, they could make the World Series, and it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. I think for me though, the Astros are the safer bet, the more reliable pick. And I want to be right, so I'm going to pick the Astros.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be shocked if we got to midseason and be like, oh, Blue Jays are on pace to win 110 games, and, they're easily the favorites right now to win the World Series. They're one of those teams to me. And honestly, same with the Padres. I think they could probably establish themselves as the best team in the National League.
I totally agree. Anyways, let's kind of switch the topic over to something that I probably would know more. The NBA. The NBA is coming to an end. Some teams are some teams done with their games, or do they have like one or two more games left?
There's like 7 games left.
Yeah.
There's
because I know some teams have like way less than other teams. The Knicks have 6 more games left. How many more games do the Raptors have, Cole? Do you know?
I believe they're the same. I think they have 6 as well.
I think the whole league's around 6 or 7 games left.
All right. Well, the league's coming to an end. We kind of have the playoff picture up right now. LT, I want to hear what you're thinking about the playoffs. Right now, we kind of have in the Eastern Conference, everything's locked already. Bucks are kind of locked in first, Celtics second, 76ers third, and Cavaliers fourth. All clinched playoff positions. With the way things are going, the Knicks will play the Cavs first round. I want to hear your thought on that. Do you think that we have a chance?
I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see that series, obviously, if that's how it goes down. I would actually like our chances more with Philadelphia than the Cavaliers. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but I really don't think the Sixers are all that. They never have been to me. I don't see Embiid as a guy who can really carry a team to a championship. They do have James Harden, but I mean,
Pat's shaking his head no. Why are you shaking your head no, Pat?
I would much rather play the Cavaliers. I think we match up a lot better with the Cavaliers. I say what you want about Embiid and Harden, but the Sixers are, no, but would you rather? I don't know.
What have the Cavs done?
But the Cavs done? It's their first season being a team with Donovan Mitchell. This is the first year of them actually being good. They're
That's
a
fair.
team that has a very much higher ceiling than the Sixers do.
It's the
And I
first
don't
time.
think the Knicks will thrive
Yeah.
against the Cavs.
Listen, I think as it's presently constituted, the Knicks have a chance. I think the Cavaliers in a 7-game series. If I was betting on it, I would pick I would pick the Cavaliers. I think the Knicks have a chance if Brunson gets right, he gets healthy. If Julius Randle stops throwing emotional fits like a baby after every single foul call and getting technical fouls. RJ Barrett shoots somewhat consistently, which I probably won't get, but just play all right. Just play all right, RJ. That's all I'm asking for you as a third option. Just play decently, please. No, this is easily a 2-horse race in the East. I think it's Bucks Celtics coming out of the East, no doubt in my mind. Yeah, I think anybody with 2 eyes would agree with me. I don't think this. You can say big 3 in the East, but the Sixers I don't think are near that category. It's for me. I don't see them going on a run to the finals, anything like that. I think maybe they win a round or 2. I doubt it. Yeah, I think it's easy. It's easily for me Celtics Bucks. This is their. They've been easily the best 2 teams in the East the entire season. When they meet in the playoffs, it's going to be a great series. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Listen, if the Knicks go on a run, they go on a run. If they don't, they don't. I'm not going to be too upset about it. I want them to slip to 6. That's got me worried. They've been playing like ass last week or so. Yeah, I think we need to get Brunson back whenever we can at some point. Yeah, LT.
I think Quickly's 40-point performance last night really solidified the season that he's been having. I think he should be 6th man of the year. I mean, who else could win it? And if he's firing, we can almost afford for RJ Barrett to play kind of mediocre. You know what I mean? Because if you have Quickly getting those minutes, he's going to score and he's going to pass the ball. Every time he's gotten to start, I believe he's averaging more than 20 points in his starts. And that's only coming when people are injured. So he's been playing absolutely out of his mind this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks can upset a team in the first round. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but they can definitely make a run.
Cole, I kind of wanted. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
I think it's a 2-horse race as well, but I don't think Boston's in it. I think it's Philly, and I can already hear the both of you. It's like, oh, I'm just hitting on Tatum, but it's honestly, I don't.
Oh my God!
I think, you guys act like this is egregious, but Philadelphia's won 49 games. Boston's won 52. I mean, we're not going to sit there and act like Boston's won 62 games and Philly's like the 6th seed. No, Embiid is playing at a top 3 level. Yes, I understand Boston made the finals last year, but I think they got a little lucky. Yeah, go, LT.
Cole, you got to listen to me, man. Joel Embiid's been playing at this quote-unquote MVP level for how long now?
Stop.
How long has he been playing at that level and they can't win? They never win.
He's having his best season ever by a mile. This is the best he's ever played by a mile.
The second round. It doesn't matter.
They very well.
Especially with Doc Rivers, they're not going to win.
Oh, I agree. I would pick Milwaukee. I think Philly has a chance, but I would lean Milwaukee.
You're going to still put them over the Celtics?
I would. Yes, I would. I don't know.
You hate Jason Tatum, and I think it
has nothing to do with that. I genuinely just don't trust the Celtics as a team. I don't think they've been playing great lately. I think they're going to the playoffs not playing their best basketball. That's another part I think is being overlooked. They're not that playing great right now. And say what you want. Say I'm hating Tatum all you want, but the fact is, since the new year, he hasn't been playing his best basketball year. I mean, he was a legitimate MVP candidate the first half of the season, and he's not. I mean, you'd be silly to say he's even in that conversation anymore. He's played himself out of it. There's nothing. He was a legit candidate. Now he's not. He played himself out of it. I don't trust Boston. I think last year, a little bit of fluke run. In the finals, you saw Tatum didn't show up in the finals. Jaylen Brown didn't really show up. Jaylen Brown played better on the table, but I'm not even trying to get back into the Tatum conversation. I'm just saying I think the race is between Milwaukee and Philly. I would strongly lean with Milwaukee. I view Boston more along the lines of Cleveland. I think Cleveland's kind of right there with Boston. I actually agree with LT that the Knicks probably match up better against the Sixers than they do Cleveland.
Cole, I kind of want to hear your opinion on what's happening over in the Western Conference. The Mavericks. Pat, sorry, go ahead.
Hold on.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I think putting the Sixers in the conversation of those 3 teams at the top of the conference isn't isn't wild to say that they could, string something together. Even though Harden, and everything I've seen, absolutely just doesn't perform up to his kind of standard in the playoffs.
He's not the first option team anymore. It doesn't really matter. He's the number 2.
All I'm saying is saying that the Celtics aren't in the race for the Eastern Conference title is egregious.
That's not what I said. I think the Sixers are a more legit.
You did. No. You said it was a 2-horse race. So
and you said it was. And you said it was 2-horse race between Milwaukee and Boston. That doesn't mean you think.
I don't see the Sixers. I don't see the Sixers beating the Celtics and the Bucks. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. I don't see it.
And I don't. Listen, you guys act like the Celtics are the great team.
Dude, am I saying the Celtics are the best team in the league? I want them to show me something. I want Tatum to fucking control the series and really establish himself as a dominant player in the league in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. I think they're a way more complete team than they were. Way more complete team than they were when they went to the finals last season.
Absolutely.
I think when they hit Derek White. I mean, Robert Williams is better. Al Horford is better. They're a way better team than they were last year. And I think the only team that in my mind, like anything can happen. Like I guess anything can happen. Like I guess the Sixers could get hot and fucking beat them in the 7-game series. My gut doesn't say that. I think if they're gonna lose, they would lose to the Bucks.
And I agree. I would pick the Bucks come out of the East. But the way you guys talk about Boston versus the Sixers is as if the Celtics are like 62-win team and the Sixers are scraping into the playoffs. The Sixers are 2 games behind the Celtics. 2.
It's the Sixers' track record of them failing in the playoffs and not making it to the big stage.
They're 3
and
games.
The Celtics have a good track record.
3 games, by the way, Cole.
The Sixers have never even came close.
Cole, didn't you go on a rampage like a couple months ago about how bad of a coach Doc Rivers is, how he always chokes in the playoffs? But This is the year. This is the year that they're going to go to the finals.
I didn't say they're going to the finals. I literally just said I would pick Milwaukee over everyone. I mean, you guys love doing this. You guys love doing this, putting words in my mouth. I mean, Pat, you just said yourself that I just said the Sixers are going to the finals. When I said I would probably say there's an 80% chance that the Bucks go to the finals. I think they're easily.
Okay. I misspoke. But you're saying that they have like a better. But they're not going to choke this year, is what you're saying. They would at least go to the conference finals.
What I'm saying is this year I think they have their best chance because I think Embiid is having his best season. They have Harden playing his best basketball with the Sixers right now, right? We're talking about you can sit here and say James Harden is not good anymore. It's just wrong. You can say that he's not a good player from Florida. I would strongly disagree. I didn't say that. In my opinion, James Harden is still in the conversation for being a top 10 player in the league. Joel Embiid right now would be my MVP.
I don't think Harden is top 10 in the league.
Okay, I said there's a conversation to be made for it, right? I'm not saying he is.
Also, what you're saying is not even wrong. It's just that they're not a better team than the Celtics. And there's no reason to say that the Sixers would go farther than the Celtics in the playoffs this year.
I think Embiid is the difference because until Tatum shows me that he's going to be
now. Why is he going to be the difference now?
Because I think he's playing his best basketball. I think he's playing the best he's ever played. I think the Celtics are not playing the best they've played this year. I think right now they're closer to being on the tier of the Cavs than they are the Bucks or Sixers, in my opinion. They were. Did you guys remember how clear the Celtics were of everyone in the East for a while? They are now the 2nd seed. Like they were the clear number 1 team for a while. They're not playing that great right now. Tatum's not playing that great right now. Brown's not playing. You can talk about how deep they are all you want, but in the playoffs, man, it's gonna come down to your best players to step up and make plays. And right now, I trust James Harden and Joel Embiid to do that more than I trust Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I would say my race would be I'm 80% in the Bucks, 15 on the Sixers, and 5 on the Celtics. But I don't think the Celtics are like. I really think I even misspoke if I said it was a 2-horse race. Really, I just think Bucks are gonna dominate Eastern Conference. I don't know. That's how I view it.
Can we move over to the Western Conference now? Yeah. Cole, I want to hear what's happening with the Mavs right now.
Well, their defense is like awful. I mean, oh my God, they were the 6th seed when they traded for Kyrie, and now they're the 11th seed. I mean, that
proves Kyrie's not a superstar. That's what I'm sorry.
I mean, no, Kyrie is playing really well, but I mean, their role players are just horrendously bad. It's unwatchable at times. I mean, Luka and Kyrie are the only NBA players on. I would almost say that they're the only 2 players capable of playing in the NBA on that team recently. I mean, it's that bad. It's really that bad. I never thought I would say that losing Dorian Finney-Smith would be this important, but my God, are they bad without Dorian Finney-Smith? Kyrie, as good as he is on offense, I mean, that defense, it's hard to watch. I mean, Luka looks fucking miserable out there, man. He looks like he wants to go back to Europe and start playing again. I mean, he is just not having fun. I don't know what the hell is going on with Mavs, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right now we have the Nuggets and the Grizzlies who have clinched the division. Everything else is for some reason everything else can change. I don't know why the Kings haven't clinched yet. The Suns 4, Clippers 5, Timberwolves 6, Warriors 7, and then the Lakers. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I find the West pretty fascinating this year. To be honest, you have those top 3 teams, the Knicks, Grizzlies, and Kings. Shout out to the Kings, by the way. We'd love to see some
light the beam.
Dude, they're the
ultra rare.
Cavs. They're the Cavs of the West, bro. They're the Cavs of the West.
Ultra rare Kings W. That team can fucking score their ass off. Holy fuck. Grizzlies are hot right now. I think they're 9-1 in their last 9-1 in their last 10 or something like that. They have a whole jaw thing, but
yeah.
And the Nuggets, we've seen this before with the Nuggets. They're a great regular season team. It just doesn't really come together in the playoffs, or they go on a run. What fascinates me is the 4 seed to the 11 seed is separated by 3.5 games. So I've been following the Western Conference more than the Eastern Conference, to be honest, just to see where these teams land. The Suns obviously acquire KD.
Let me take over for a second.
But this is actually crazy.
I wanna push back a little bit on something that you said, that we've seen this Nuggets before. I don't think we have. They finished 6th last year. They finished 3rd the year before that. I don't know. There's something about watching them this year that feels a little bit different. They feel more dominant. They feel like it's almost they've mastered what they've been trying to do the past 2 years on offense, and it's just running at such a high level. It could end up being fraudulent. You never know, but I kind of believe in the team more than I do like the Grizzlies or no disrespect, Kings, love the Kings, but I really don't believe in they're going to make a serious push at the finals. But
this is actually very crazy. The 6th seed all the way to the 11th seed, they're all within 2 games with each other.
Crazy.
So anything could happen. Anything else you guys want to add to the NBA?
Yeah, I think that the Lakers being currently the 9th seed right now in the play-in, I think if they can win that play-in and get to play the Nuggets, if it lines up like that, I'm not even sure. We'll see with the end of the season. But if you play against a team like the Nuggets, obviously this is the best team the Nuggets we've seen with the Nuggets, best by far. But with a team like the Lakers, you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis winning the finals in 2020. Say whatever you want about that, but they did win. But they can absolutely beat a team like the Nuggets and take them out in the first round, and I would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't bet on it or anything, but I think that's definitely a team that the Nuggets are going to have to play 100% against, and they're not your normal 8-seed team that you normally see in the playoffs.
If I'm one of the top teams in the West, I'm kind of terrified of the Warriors and Lakers just chilling down there in the 7 and 9 seed. Like, that's not a team you want to play in the early rounds of the playoffs. You're a top team. Like, say what you want about how the Lakers and Warriors have played this year, but at the end of the day, the Lakers have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. At the end of the day, the Warriors have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr is their coach. I mean, you can say what you want about how they've played in the regular season, but come playoff time, those are not teams you want to play. Those are not easy outs. If I'm the Nuggets, I'm praying that like the Thunder or Pelicans win. I'm so much more comfortable with them than another team. How electric would it be though if like we saw? I don't even know if it's possible, but Warriors Grizzlies round 1. I mean, my God,
We would see some great, the 1 and 8 seed and the 2 and 7 seeds would be phenomenal. And when's the last time we've seen that? It's been forever.
right?
The West is extremely stacked this year. It's going to be really fun to see during the playoffs.
I think obviously the Suns with KD should be when KD comes back. I mean,
What's his return date? Do we know?
should be back by the first round, I believe.
Good. Yeah, that's another thing. Excited to see that as well.
Yeah, let's see. I believe, I think it says he's coming back right before the playoffs.
So yeah, that's another team. Well, I mean, I think they're the 4th seed right now, but they can obviously make a run for it. I think more so than the Kings. That's not ridiculous.
I don't think the Suns are going anywhere. Just purely on the fact that they have CP 0 rings on the team.
Well, obviously,
so
Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the Suns could win 80.
You could have Michael Jordan on that team. They wouldn't shit.
The Suns could win 80. The Suns could win 82 games, and I would be like, second round.
CP 0 rings.
Chris Paul's on your team.
Staying on the topic of basketball, let's move over to March Madness. Some pretty good games happened last weekend, one of which we watched together, UConn destroying Gonzaga. Pat, I want you to start us off with this real quick.
I think it's an interesting Final Four. San Diego State, FAU, and Miami and UConn. I think this is the first Final Four ever without a top 3 seed. Even though I think UConn is deserving of maybe a higher seed than 4, even though they kind of tapered off a bit at the end of the season. I think my pick right now would have to be UConn. I think they're playing absolutely fantastic basketball. Dismantled Gonzaga in that second half. It was just a blowout of blowouts. Just absolutely manhandled the entire team. Miami, I think, has had a great run. They have a pretty legendary coach. I don't know. To me, it's San Diego State and UConn in the final. And whoever, I know Cole's going to ride the San Diego State train. I think UConn, if UConn doesn't win this, I think it should be looked at as a disappointment. I think they should be the clear favorite, despite, whatever, they're a 4 seed. I think they're a much better team when they're playing at their peak, like they are right now, than a 4 seed. I think UConn should be the favorite in this Final Four.
Yeah, I feel like Miami beating Texas was a huge upset. I thought that Texas definitely should have been playing UConn in this game. But obviously for UConn, that's a great advantage for them. I think they should be able to beat Miami, but who knows? They just came off of a win against Texas, which is a huge win. But on the other hand, UConn just won by 30 against Gonzaga in an absolute dominating game, by the way. Shout out to UConn. That's my pick to win the championship, obviously. But with Florida Atlantic and San Diego, I think you would have to pick San Diego, even though the win against Creighton for FAU? Is that how you say it? Their abbreviation? Yeah. But whatever it is, I don't think they're gonna win. So give me UConn and San Diego State.
Yeah, so obviously I'm riding this San Diego State train pretty hard. They're I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the SDSU versus FAU game. I mean, we know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But Miami's going to beat UConn pretty easily, in my opinion. Listen.
Bro, it's the biggest hater of all time.
Listen, FAU was always frauds. They had a cupcake run to the Final Four. Let's just keep it real. There's no chance San Diego State loses that game. As a matter of fact, I'll give each one of you $20 if they lose that game. All right, Pat.
I want you to put down your moms right now, bro.
And Lucas.
All right, shake on it.
Shake on
it through the screen. All right,
$20.
$20 to each of you if SDSU loses that game. Yeah, because they're not losing. And then Miami is as badly as I want UConn to win. Miami's going to beat them. It's unfortunate that that's how it has to go. But
just wants all the hate.
This is where UConn's run ends. Unfortunately, they were always frauds, and this just comes
by 30. How are they frauds?
Because Gonzaga,
because they just beat up by 30.
Why? Why are they losing the game? Why are you
going to keep asking? Why are you going to let me explain? All right, so here we go. Beating a fraud by 30 doesn't mean you're not a fraud. That just means they were also frauds, right? So I still view UConn as fraudulent. I mean, this is still a team that, struggled early in the year. They're playing great right now, but this is the big moment. And this is where it all crumbles down for UConn. I don't want to see it happen, but unfortunately, that's just how it has to go. It was always Miami. It was never UConn. It was always SDSU. It was never anybody else. SDSU to the moon. SDSU is winning the championship.
Okay, to clarify, this always San Diego State. This is very recent. He's gone on this obsession with San Diego State in the last 3 days. So it's always been San Diego State. It's a pretty recent thing to say during the Elite Eight of the tournament. I think I would actually very much enjoy a San Diego State UConn national championship, which I think is what we're going to get. I don't know. I mean, you don't know. I never know what's going to happen in these games. I don't think you can predict to a science who's going to win these games. To be clear, I want UConn to win. I want UConn to win the final. But I don't make the rules. I just follow them. Unfortunately, it's how it has to happen.
It's how it has to
I don't know what that even I don't even know what that means.
When we come back here and record next week, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
Springfield finals. We're coming to the end of the podcast. Unless we got other horrible takes that we gotta say,
dude. I want to tease. What? What?
Tease?
You gotta tell those motherfuckers in your dorm to shut the hell up, man.
Oh my God!
We're recording
strip tease.
I don't know. There some motherfuckers dribbling a basketball or something in the hallway. Not
your
happy
roommate's a baller
that.
though.
I'll have a word with him. after this.
Have a word.
I'm gonna have to put my foot down.
You said you were gonna strip tease?
I apologize. Give me a minute, Drake. I will. But I'm going to apologize to the viewers who hear a ball bouncing in the hallway, plenty of ruckus. Apparently, my floor mates love to wrestle all the time at all hours of the night because they're children.
I mean, God, it's 11 p.m.
My tease
Ooh.
is Kanye West is now back in the good graces.
Let's go.
He found his love for Jewish people through 21 Jump Street in Jonah Hill. Of all things in popular media,
Jonah Hill's a goat.
It's Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street that has brought him back to the side of loving his fellow Jewish brothers. I don't know what the fuck's going on in this. I don't know what the fuck's going on in this motherfucker's head. But next week, we're breaking down his entire discography. We got a bunch of Kanye fans in the podcast. We're going to do it.
Someone should go.
Kanye music.
Someone should go back in time and show. Someone should go back in time and show Adolf 21 Jump Street.
Oh God.
Anyways, coming to the end of the podcast, we got. No, it's not. That's coming to the.
This is a great movie.
You know what? I don't want it.
This is a great movie. I don't want to kill nobody now.
No shower time, please.
I was going to say something too. I don't even. Fans of Keepin' It PC. Yeah. We have a new series coming over the next 3 weeks as we lead up to the NFL draft. Myself and LT will be doing a draft series. We're going to do 3 episodes. The first one's going to come out this weekend. It's going to be on the quarterbacks in this draft. Next weekend will be offensive players, and the week after that will be defensive players. And we're going to get a mock draft out before the draft, maybe the day before the draft. We'll see how it all lines up, but be some nice draft content coming to you for any of you that are interested in the draft and love the draft the way that myself and LT do. So
And
that'll be coming soon.
This is can't miss. Everybody has to tune in. Great
Can't
draft coverage, great analogies from me and Cole. Tune in or else.
We don't just talk the top guys either. We're going to talk some sleepers.
Oh, we got
We're
depth.
We're gonna go in depth on what we think the Giants should do. We're gonna go in depth on what we think the Patriots should do for Mr. Fergus. And so we look forward to getting that out.
Yeah. And you gonna say anything, Pat, or no?
We just got some heat. We got some heat in the chamber. It's on the
Oh, yeah. Thank you to our sponsor, Anchor, who is now named Podcasters. And I think I'm just gonna end the episode off right here.
Good spot to end it.
Peace out.